Okay, folks, we're back with another week of the Sean Kiracofe Show. And as you can see, we're on location this time. Coach's office, a little bit of a delayed show this week because of the Tuesday match and all that sort of stuff. But glad to spend a few minutes with you after Tuesday, before Saturday, as we talk about McNeese and all that coming up soon. But first, Coach, tell me about Tuesday night, Central Arkansas. Knew going in was going to be a tough place to play. Knew they had solid defense. Mm-hmm. You guys came out and I think played one of probably your better matches over this stretch of really impressive performances that you guys have had.
Yeah, it was a great match. Fun to coach in. I'm sure it was fun to play in. They have a great environment. It's a small gym like we talked about. And they get the fans right on top of you. And, it's a pressure situation. And I'm glad that, our girls were able to step up and get a great win.
One of the things that we kind of talked about after that was how it sort of reminded you a little bit about the Sam Houston match, mm-hmm. in the way that, like we said, you knew Central Arkansas was going to have solid defense, and they definitely made some big plays. And whereas in the Sam match, you felt like our offense got a little frustrated with that.
Yeah.
Central Arkansas, definitely not the case. Really stayed consistent.
Yeah. It gets frustrating, when you think you take a good swing and it gets dug, and then, transition it back out and take another swing and that gets dug. And then, you try to push a little bit, excuse me, and do a little bit more than you should. And it turns into an error. But that's one of the benefits of having good defense. That's something that, I love about our defense. We keep giving the ball back to the other team and we make them try to push and create some things that aren't there. But I think our offensive, our attackers, did a great job of just remembering situations and knowing what to do when they saw different things being created, and taking advantage of it when we did.
Speaking of the defense, from Tuesday, just like Central Arkansas made a lot of great plays, we made a lot of great plays, and mm-hmm. Meg had some pretty incredible digs.
She did.
And of course, the play at the net was some of the best that we've seen this year.
Yeah, that's something that we've been working on a ton. We always work on it, but it really has paid off here in the last few matches. And I think it's just that consistency, and then obviously, when the blocks start coming and you get that reward, it's a good reinforcement to be able to continue doing what you're supposed to be doing.
So talk about this run through as this Saturday is the end of the first half of the conference schedule. It was a toss-up there in that first week, winning and loss, but since then, since that Houston Baptist win, you guys have really been rolling.
Mm-hmm. I think it's just a confidence individually, and then, that trust in your teammates that they're going to do their job as long as you do your job. It's a great chemistry going on right now, and I think it's fun to be a part of.
Like how much fun is it? Like just from the day-to-day practice, things are going well, and surely you can see that in practice from the girls as they continue to play well.
I think we always have a good time. Good season, bad season. I think that we find a way to entertain ourselves, which is good and bad. But being a student athlete is not easy. The time constraints are incredible. There's long days. There's a lot going on, and then there's studying, and then having a life outside of it. It's not easy, but I think we find a way to make it fun. They love volleyball, so we come in here and have a good time in practice. We have a good time on the road. The bus is fun. Maybe not late at night when we're traveling back, but it's nice and quiet. But it's a great group, and we have a good time with what we're doing.
So moving into Saturday's match, back at home, the start of 3 straight home matches on the schedule. Talk to me about McNeese.
They've been struggling, but they've been taking a lot of teams to 4 and 5, and they're right there on the door of getting a lot of victories against a lot of good teams in the conference. So it's nothing that you can look past. We've talked about, for a long time now that everyone in the conference is better this year, which has made it really interesting. There's just been a lot of, back and forth between wins and losses against a bunch of different teams in the conference. They for the last few years they've had a somewhat unique offense, which has changed a little bit again. It's a little bit more conventional, is the best way that I can explain it, and so I think that plays in our favor. But we've also done a good job being able to absorb the scout, in the week prior to playing them, and then putting that into effect. Doesn't always turn out well. I mean, last time we played them at their place, they had a great match and they won in 3. But I'm very confident in what we're capable of doing against anybody from a scout standpoint on our girls being able to absorb that information and then put it into practice.
Yeah. And do you think that comes a lot from just the amount of experience that you guys have on the floor?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's, every year we kind of get into, just teaching basics about scouting at the beginning of the year, and some years that takes a whole lot longer, and there's a lot of reminders, and there's a lot of, do you remember this? And they're like, oh, okay. But it in last year and into this year, just because we've had the majority of the players just returning and having big roles for the excuse me, in the program. It's mentioned something one time, and they got it.
Yeah. All right, Coach. Well, a big one, obviously, you don't look past anybody in this conference for sure. A big one on Saturday, and then 2 more really big ones next week.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, talk a little bit about maybe, and I feel like it's in a really good spot, the mentality of the team as we move into this second half of the conference schedule.
I mean, there's always a big difference between the first half and the second half. There's a few different teams that you haven't played in the first half that you'll see in the second half, so that's obviously, there is a different variable in there. But, I think just all those close wins, whether it's a close set or it's just the match in its entirety, to be able to stay composed and get those wins is something that snowballs. And so I think that we have a confidence level going into the second half, no matter who we face up against, that they're going to be confident in what they can do going into the second half of the conference.
Okay, Coach, well, appreciate you once again. Again, Saturday's match starts at 11 a.m. at Prather, and you can spend the whole day. It's homecoming and all that sort of stuff. So start with volleyball, stick around for football, and all the other activities in between. Coach, appreciate you again, and we'll check in with you next time.
Thank you.